vulnerability. Therefore, government has released about 100 crore rupees to the Department of the Agriculture, Horticulture, Animal Husbandry, all of them together. They can take up the drought proofing and drought resilient initiatives. So that is what has happened already in the government last 2 years back. And we have seen such type of activities being taken up all the time, every year in Karnataka state. Whenever there is a drought, we have cattle camps in Koppal district, you can see here, and fodder banks being created during the drought situations. Even elephant-proof trench along the protected area boundary, so that man-animal conflicts are prevented. You can see man-animal conflict is another major issue in. So risk reduction due to the man-animal conflict is also one of the important area, and such type of activities are taken up by the forest department, drought trenching and all that. So even such type of barricade works also railings are also laid across. Fencing is done, like solar fencing. So this kind of solar fencing is done there, so that elephants and they will not be able to cross. We have cyclone risk mitigation projects. So very important actually. Cyclone is although not felt in Karnataka, but in many other states, it is there in Odisha, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and West Bengal. So cyclone risk reduction is very important. So you can prepare projects for cyclone risk mitigation also. So to reduce the vulnerability, we can modify the existing infrastructure facilities. We can go for multi-cyclone resistant structures, construct them. Even in Karnataka also, but across this 320-kilometer coastal belt, we have National Cyclone Risk Mitigation Project already in place, spending crores of money to make it more cyclone resilient. And cyclone resilient projects are taken across the country earlier also. In 93, 92, 93, there was a cyclone risk mitigation project in Odisha, when they constructed rural almost in many villages. They went for converting the huts into cyclone resilient buildings with the community initiatives. That was awarded also. That the project was awarded by the United Nations. So best project. Cyclone resilient projects are taken across the country now. So multi-cyclone multi-cyclone shelters, and then mangroves for risk mitigation. Even the stone walls being constructed. All types of projects are taken. All these type of projects are already being initiated by the government. I don't want, because it takes time to share that project. In Odisha, it was Kutira project, where about thousands of houses were constructed. All the huts in the rural areas were converted into cyclone resilient houses by the help of community only. We trained them in Odisha, and then set up the building centers there. We trained the community. The community themselves constructed their own houses. That was the best project which I had ever seen. So cyclone resilient housing is also one of the mitigation activity. So these are cyclone shelters here. You can see here these type of structures. These are constructed now everywhere in the coastal belt. Now let us go to the landslides. Landslide again in 23 taluks in Karnataka, Uttarakhand, northeastern states, entire Western Ghats, coastal belt. All of the districts falling under these areas are vulnerable to landslides. In Karnataka, 23 taluks are also identified as vulnerable to landslides, as per the latest survey by the expert committee. And government of Karnataka has taken up landslide mitigation projects. They are installing sensors and all satellite based technology sensors, even seismic stations there. So these are the things that the government has already initiated. Rehabilitation projects have been taken up in Kodagu and Kodagu actually in Madikeri. So they have constructed about 800 houses for the rehabilitation of 2018 flood and landslide. Such initiatives have already been taken up by the government. Landslide is one of the major disasters during the rainfall. So in Kodagu, in all these 23 taluks. So you can see in Wayanad also recently it has happened very serious landslide. Earlier in Maharashtra and now in Karnataka and 2018-19 every year we are receiving about 150 to 200 mm rainfall in a day in these three taluks in Madikeri in Kodagu. So even in Uttarakhand also, many other districts like Chikmagalur, Hassan, Dakshina Kannada, Uttara Kannada. So they are also facing Shivamogga also, Chikmagalur. So all of these are mapped as landslide prone areas. So government has initiated some certain landslide risk mitigation projects. Some guidelines have been issued to all these districts. So they're trying to prepare mitigation projects to reduce the disaster risk, landslide risk. So some of these initiatives like this, here you can see here. So this kind of retaining wall can protect the mountain from slides. So this otherwise this will cause landslide if it remains like this. So this should be converted like this. So retaining wall should be constructed like this. Are you seeing all of you? Please see these things. These are some of those risk reduction measures for landslide. And you can see here also. This steel wire mesh is applied here and nails. Some nails are there. Nails are nailed and then shotcutting is done like this. So the mesh, the shotcutting means forcible concreting. So concrete is sprayed with force so that it drifts to the existing slope. So that slope becomes stable. Here also, here also. Here you can see steel wire mesh with rock bolting also done. The rock bolting actually is. So these type of measures are taken to reduce the disaster risk in a landslide prone area. Here you can see here the mesh is applied here. You can see here also. So that to prevent the sliding of the slopes, they're going rock bolting, and then mesh is applied, retaining walls are constructed. So anchoring is done, nailing is done. All such type of activities are done to ensure stability of the slopes in the landslide prone area. So this will reduce the disaster risk in these areas. Such projects have been taken up on large scale in most of the landslide prone areas in Karnataka and also in other states. Even in northeastern states like Nagaland and all, they have used some of these boulders on the stones, rubber stones in many places also. Rubber stones are just used here like this to prevent the sliding of the slopes. So this the local initiatives actually. Even we are so such type of structural risk mitigation measures are taken for landslide prone areas. I said, bamboo is also used here. You can see in northeastern states when there is a local material bamboo, they are using bamboo here. You can see Nagaland. So have you understood any questions at this stage? For landslide prone areas, such type of risk reduction measures can be taken up. For lightning and all, so lightning is one of the major disaster now. So about 30 people, 40 people are dying every year, almost every year. It is reaching 100 now. So that is the problem with lightning and thunderstorms. So what is the risk mitigation measure for this? Can anybody tell? Lightning is a big problem now. So many people are getting died due to that. So lightning we have in Karnataka, Sidilu app is there. So it is in the Play Store, Google Play Store. You can download it. It is Sidilu here. So you can give that app name and download it and use it. During rainy season, you can wherever you are moving, you are commuting, you can switch it on, and if your mobile says red in your location, 0 to 2 kilometers, there is likely lightning there. So you need to take appropriate measures to prevent yourself from lightning strike. So what you should do is you must immediately take measures to prevent yourself by going inside the house. Don't go and stand under the tree or any transformer or any electric wires or anything like that, or metallic components, so that you are free, you are prevented from lightning strike. So that is what you must do for lightning. Lightning conductors are also inside on the on the top of the buildings. So that is also another measure. So lightning's risk reduction is done in these two ways. Okay, you can also use this. So this is what Karnataka has done here. You can see here. So here you can see that these are the stations actually. Lightning monitoring stations here across the state. In every almost every. So they sense the lightning and send the message to the mobile app. You can see in mobile app, if it is showing red circle, the 0 to 2 kilometers you are in the risk actually. 0 to 2 kilometer within that distance, there is a risk of lightning. So you can reduce the risk by escaping yourself safely inside. If you are traveling in a car, then don't go near the window. If you are in the farmland, you should not go under the tree. All that things, or you should be crawling like a child on your knees. So that kind of measures can be done by you to prevent yourself from lightning risk. So this is how it is done here. Mobile app, I told you, these are sensors actually. So they are installed across. Mobile app is there, steady loop. You can just download it. There is also one app is there, Varuna Mitra, which you can see in the internet also. It is a call center actually. You can call this particular Varuna Mitra help desk. They will tell you how much is going to be the rainfall in the next few days, what is the temperature, humidity, wind speed, etc. All this information is provided by Varuna Mitra help desk. And sometimes you can also ask where is there any likelihood of any flooding or any thunderstorm or anything like that. You can ask them. Okay, they will guide you. So this is what is done in the lightning. Then we have other miscellaneous disaster risk reduction measures, like strengthening of critical infrastructure, runoff control measures, and drainage systems, and innovative natural procedures for risk reduction. So they can take up for any local disasters, whether it is related to the accidents of all types, fire accidents, road accidents, rail accidents, or water-based, water-related accidents, water transportation related accidents. So any accident, whether it is building collapse, just now I explained you, building collapse or stampedes, just now in Kumbh Mela it has happened. You already know there is a risk in such gatherings, mass gatherings, but you should have taken measures. You should know where is the density of how the density of the population, where the crowd is going to assemble, whether how the crowd is going to happen, what could be the measures to be taken before to avoid the crowds in a particular place. Everything should have been planned well there, because crowd management plan is very, very important part of such type of events. So in order to avoid the stampedes and any other such untoward incidents in such mass gatherings. But that was, I think, done, but still it has happened. So there was a fire incident also. So in order to avoid all the such type of accidents, we call them as accident-related disaster risks. Accident-related disaster risks include the fire-related disasters, building collapse-related disasters, stampede festival-related disasters, all such type of disasters. Okay. Next we'll go. Karnataka is vulnerable to different types of hazard. This is the red shows the flooding. Almost all these areas are flood prone actually. I just wanted to show the Karnataka's. This is drought prone areas, all of them, shaded areas. This is flood prone areas. 103 taluks in Karnataka were flooded in 2019. Just I wanted to show you. There is a flood also. The cyclones are also the wind. You can see the moderate cyclone risk is there in Karnataka state. 15 districts and 50 taluks. The man-animal conflicts in Karnataka state is the elephant corridor actually. So these areas like Bandipur and this national park, they are all vulnerable to man-animal conflicts. Okay. So these are industries are located here, and they are all vulnerable to industrial disasters also in Karnataka. This is a cyclone prone area, the seismic prone area actually. This is moderate risk is there. All of you are understanding that some questions may come from what I am explaining at the end of your session. So please be alert here. So how much area is vulnerable to earthquake risk in Karnataka? If I say approximately about 22% area of Karnataka state, which with districts like Bidar, Kalburgi, Bijapur, Bagalkote, Belgavi, Dharwad, Uttar Kannada, Udupi and Dakshina Kannada, Kodagu. These are the districts, Dharwad also. These are the districts which are falling under the seismic moderate risk of earthquakes. So moderate risk means 6.9 on the Richter scale. So that much of earthquake can happen, probability. So in these areas, remaining area is a low risk area actually in Karnataka. So this is the Indian map of earthquake vulnerability. Northeastern states, entire northern belt, including Bhuj and Gujarat, they are high risk, very high risk areas. Remaining are all these zone 4. And Delhi is also coming under that. So then we have yellow color here. Yellow indicates moderate risk. Karnataka 22% area is moderate risk. Zone 2 is entire remaining area, yellow, blue color. So this is the status of earthquake risk in India. And you should also know what is damage and losses due to the different types of disasters. So here damage means total or partial destruction of physical assets. Losses means this actually flows over a long period of time, economic flows. So it may accumulate over a period of time. Suppose there is a topsoil is eroded from the soil, then until it is brought back to its fertility, it will continue to lose its crop yield. So like that, if an industry loses its building or machineries in a disaster, then until it is brought back to normalcy, the losses will continue to happen in terms of human loss, in terms of economic loss, and those forward and backward linkages. All that can happen during any disaster. So typical damages and losses could be hospital, schools, housing, roads, bridges, ports, airports, etc. Losses could be production losses basically. If it is agriculture production, if it is fishery, then that, livestock, industry, commerce, tourism, etc., etc. Damages will be generally short term and losses will be generally long term, maybe more than 5 years also sometimes. So just wanted to tell you because losses until you reconstruction, until your rehabilitation is done, losses will continue to happen. Okay. So we have underestimated so far the losses actually. Damages definitely will measure because it's very much visible to the eyes. We can go there and measure and assess it. Like a building cracks and building collapse can be easily measured. Similarly, crop loss and crop damages can be easily measured by crop cutting experiment and all. But losses are very difficult to measure, so therefore they ignored it and therefore continue to ignore it. So total losses and damages should be estimated and report should be prepared in order to reduce the disaster risk in the coming days. That we call it as post-disaster needs assessment. PDNA course we conduct here for 5 days in ATI. Post-disaster needs assessment for recovery. So in that we have templates, formats for formats on how to estimate the damages and losses for different sectors like housing sector, agriculture sector, animal husbandry sector, then infrastructure sectors like electricity, telecommunication, water supply, sanitation, roads, etc. So we are doing all these things in a 5 days training program in ATI. So those who are interested can send your request to ATI. We will accommodate you in those programs. Okay, post-disaster needs assessment for long-term recovery. That is the program name. Okay, in ATI we conduct that program. in collaboration with the National Institute of Disaster Management and others. You can always attend those programs. So in order to know more about the disaster risk assessment. For example, in earthquake, if the earthquake happens, what is the damage here? Damage is only about 65% and loss is 25%. Okay. In case of floods, only 30% is the damage and 50% is the loss. In case of drought, only 4% is damage, but 70% is loss because topsoil might have lost its erosion. All that kind of things have happened there. Okay. So such type of effects will be there due to different types of disasters. You understood it? Is there any question in this? Anybody has understood this?
No, understood, sir.
So, for example, in Indian Ocean tsunami, you can see here this table, like damage, loss, what is the total loss and all. For example, what is the damage here in case of tsunami? Housing damage is 2,120 million US dollars. But all other components are less, you can say losses are less there. So based on this, we have arrived this table actually. Okay. So earthquake losses, you can see damages are more than losses here. Okay. Tsunami is also a kind of earthquake only. So similarly, education, you can see here different types of losses, infrastructure losses, you can see 1,136 million US dollars. So total damage is 5,597. Total losses are 4,333 million and total is 10,930. So this is the total losses incurred during the Indian tsunami. So Indian Ocean tsunami. So if you ask something, what is a disaster risk in a tsunami, you can say like this. Under different sectors, what could be the possible damage and losses and total losses. Okay, total estimated loss. So if you are asked to do this loss assessment audio, how are you going to do? So in a team of experts, what you do is go there, we do the physical asset survey, visual inspection, and all other tools also we use. Risk assessment tools we call them. Man. If I ask you, hello. Okay, just if I ask you, if I request you to go and do the survey and estimate the total losses of the physical assets, how are you going to do it? Suppose you are doing a research project in your university or some department. If I request you to do the housing losses and damages, how are you going to do? What is the format you are going to use? What are the parameters you consider? So you must also know this is not only from the implementation perspective, but also from the research point of view also. So number and type of housing units. If you don't know this, you will not be able to do it properly. Number and level of schools, number and category of health facilities, agriculture irrigated area, number and size of industrial facilities, water supply sanitation systems, electric facilities, networks, type of roads, length, and other airports, etc. So like that, we prepare everything. Formats we prepare based on these parameters. And we go there, what is the quantity in terms of length, breadth, depth, and then calculate the total quantity and multiply it by the schedule of the rates. Then we get the total cost. Then we submit the report to the government for release. Once the amount is released, we will take up the recovery and rehabilitation works. So to do this assessment, risk assessment, we do the field survey and aerial photos analysis also. We use drones also now. Drones, field survey, aerial survey, and then even many other tools also we are using. Okay, to map GIS we use, and then remote sensing data we use for calculating the losses and damages post disaster. Recently, Wayanad, they have used all those tools. Remote sensing data also they use. What was the situation before the disaster and what is the losses and damages after the disasters will be known exactly, accurately when the remote sensing data, GIS, and also field survey, drone survey are done. Otherwise, you will not be able to calculate properly. Okay. So this is how we are doing it actually in field risk assessment. Clear, sir? Tomorrow you may send some of the teams to the field to do the risk assessment as a part of your curriculum or a part of your departmental activity. You can do this kind of things. Okay, this type of templates, formats, and field survey formats you can make use of. We have detailed formats also with us, but I cannot show all of them here since it is a class without much time. Okay.
Okay.
Infrastructure, you can also carry out here, like normally. So infrastructure losses are very, very complicated to estimate actually. If you do not know the fundamentals. So because there are many infrastructure services, not only just infrastructure means not just the road, telecommunication, electricity, water. We were facing a lot of problems in assessment of the losses and damages in the field because it was difficult for the team members to assess the exact losses and damages. So that was really difficult, but finally we could able to do it using the templates and formats. So when we did the housing damage, we know that fully damaged. Everything we take into account and calculate the exact damage and loss to the housing units. The government is also providing the compensation for loss of housing. Already aware of that. So earlier it was 5 lakh rupees for the complete loss of house, damage, complete damage. And for partial damage, it was less than that, so around 2 lakh rupees. Okay. So this was the amount given by the government, but it is only kind of a compensation. But actual loss and damage could have been much more. Okay. Before and after, how are you going to compare? So if you have got the map, if you know the features, like if there is about 10 hectares of land where sugarcane and then sunflower, then some groundnut, something, so many crops are there in that 10 hectares of land. If you do not have the map before the disaster, you will not be able to calculate what is the loss after the disaster, exact loss. There is possibility of manipulation also. Therefore, we must know the real picture of the area before the disaster, and then only we can compare it with the post-disaster situation scenario. Then you will have exact losses and damages possible. Otherwise, you will not be able to give the right report. This has happened in many cases when there was no pre-disaster scenario available to us. Post-disaster scenario was also not available properly. Okay. So that problem is there everywhere. So because that is why there is a kind of some problem there in while estimating the losses and damages. So we should know exactly what is the situation before and after. Therefore, in the Disaster Management Act 2005, NDMA at the central level is doing a lot of work on this. Guidelines are issued. SDMA at every state level, headed by the Chief Minister. Here, the Prime Minister, his Chief Minister are also doing a lot of policy framework. We have prepared a state disaster risk reduction plan in our center and submitted to the government every year. We have district disaster management risk reduction plans in place in every district. We have gone to the Gram Panchayats also while for preparing the Gram Panchayat disaster risk reduction plans. Everything is going on here. DDMA district plans are prepared under the DC's chairmanship. DDMA means District Disaster Management Authority. Every district is having it now. NDRF is also established in 2006. So all these things have been already strengthened in every state and every district. So district information management cycle. So we need to identify the affected people, their area. We should collect the information and data of the resources You should also remember there is a IDRN network, India Disaster Resource Network, IDRN, where district all the resources in the districts are uploaded there. For example, how many ambulances, how many hospitals, how many JCBs are there, and food storage units, private and hospitals, government hospitals, almost all the even water tanks, schools, colleges. Every data is gathered and uploaded on the IDRN network. IDRN means India Disaster. The materials, machine materials. So this is what is being done now by the state government and district administration. Okay. So we are always keeping track of the physical human resource needs. We collect all the information, upload it, and then disseminate the information also where it is, where the information is available. Okay, for managing the disasters. So we do planning, organizing, controlling, decision making at every level in every disaster. Okay. So role of officers, all of your officers, what you should do, you should understand your roles and responsibility during, before and after the disaster. If you don't know, if you don't mark drill, if you do not know the ESFs, emergency support functions, and if you are unaware of all of them, do's and don'ts, you will not be able to perform better during the disasters and before the disaster also. I already told you untrained human resource is a liability. They cause more harm than going there and doing something. Okay. Participate in DDM, district disaster management meetings. Share information of your department plan. Keep copy of the communication plan, how you are going to communicate with all the emergency phone numbers, telephone numbers. Please keep all the addresses and contact numbers of important agencies. Like if I ask you what is the number of say or source, SOS number, can anybody tell me? SOS number, please tell me somebody. What is the state emergency operation number? What is the helpline? Three toll numbers?
139.
No. So 112 is save our source number, 112. Okay, please remember 112. If you call for any emergency, they will come and help. 112, free toll number. 1077 is the state emergency operation center number, free toll. 1070 is the district emergency operation center number. Like that, 1098, like that. Many are there. You have to keep, like 100 is the police, 101 is the fires emergency. So you have to remember all of those numbers and see whenever there is an emergency, you can make use of those numbers. Okay. You should exhibit these numbers predominantly.
Okay.
Then topographic, resource mapping, etc. There should be a layout plan, map, etc. of your campus or your department, wherever you are. And identify all the hazards, risk, vulnerability in that campus. From within the campus, from outside the campus, what are all the hazards, risk, vulnerability, you must do it. First step in any planning is hazard, risk, vulnerability analysis. Please identify all the hazards, all types of hazards, and then calculate the vulnerability due to these hazards. Then what is the loss and damage? There is risk. Then what is your capacity, existing capacity? You analyze whether the capacity is appropriate or not. You please check. If there is no capacity, please build the capacity and reduce the disaster risk every year. That is what we wanted to know every department. Okay, that's what we are doing, and we are giving training also on that. Okay, we have to what to do. We have to go and visualize, visit the entire area in a team, conduct some sensitization meetings with your professors, teachers, etc., and also the officers and students, and then prepare the layout plans, maps of hazard maps, vulnerability maps, then prepare inventory of the capacities available, then prepare the preparedness plan, constituting different teams like first aid team, research and rescue team, and then many other IEC teams, mock drill team, etc., and then train them in first aid and other first responder training, and then keep them ready. Whenever there is a disaster, we can activate them. Simply, they will not be knowing how to use the fire extinguisher also many times when there is a fire. So you must be aware of all these things. Everybody should be aware of all of them. All of them. At least some teams should be made and they should be trained so that they can be activated. Okay. So we use all these tools like transit walk to assess the risk in the field. What we do is we'll go there, do the transit walk, we do the resource mapping, how much resource is available, then focused group discussions we do. Ranking, we do the ranking of the disasters, hazards based on the severity of the disaster. Then Venn diagrams we do for the resource mapping, and then cause and effect analysis we do, risk matrix we prepare, and then we prepare the table and submit it to the authorities. That's how we do the risk assessment in any department or any area. For example, these are some of the tables that we use, risk assessment. See the name of the hazard, which year, how much area affected, life, livelihood, livestock, etc., etc. Okay. Then we use water and climate related disaster, for example, cyclones, sunstroke, heat waves, drought, flood. For them, we use like this, in which month, what has happened, how much loss. Similarly, geological disasters, earthquake, mining, tsunami, landslide, etc. Industrial chemical, what has happened in the whole year, pipeline failures, oil spill, toxic release, chemical accidents, etc. Even accident and other related disasters, building collapse, bomb threats, stampede, aircraft crash, road tanker accident, rail accident, road accident, boat capsize, building collapse, etc., etc. So all these things, biological disease, which kind of disease has happened in which month? We take up like Castor forest disease. We estimate like in which month of the year, what kind of disease has uh, is coming and causing risk there, loss of life and morbidities. So this is what we do in the field by using such type of templates while preparing the disaster action plan, disaster risk reduction plans. Clear, sir? And risk assessment for type of hazards, time of occurrence, potential impact, vulnerable areas. We calculate all of these things for different types of hazards. So vulnerability analysis also we do, what is the vulnerability to the road, waterways, water supply, hospitals, etc. So we calculate all that, cyclone, flood, chemical. What is the population? What is the area affected? What is the population? What is the area affected, like that. For example, such type of rapid venue, for example, if you are conducting a sports event or a big festival or a big mass gathering, sports event, etc., etc. So thousands of people may be coming there, and you should see these questions. Are visitors welcome? Are visitors satisfied with the service? Is the approach to the venue, exit pass, exit gates, clean or crowded or what? Does visual control system identify and locate crowd density? If you don't know the crowd density, you will not be able to manage crowds. Stampedes are going to happen. Does everything like medical, fire, all these are in place or not adequately? Are up to date emergency preparedness goals, performance. Suppose I'm telling this for the venue, like Kumbh Mela is a venue, but you should have assessed all these parameters so that you minimize the disaster risk like stampedes and fire accidents, bomb threats, etc. If you don't do this checklist and make arrangements for all these 20 questions, 20 parameters, likely that there is going to be a disaster. So this is the thing actually, how the risk assessment has to be done for even Kumbh Mela disaster, for even your own meets, like in a sports meet or any festival that you are conducting in your department. I have given 20 questions here. I am sending it to you, all of you. Please read it in your free time and ask me any questions, doubts, how to do this. For example, here 15th question. What is there in this? Do event organizers and other stakeholders appear committed to the continuous improvement? So this is what it is. Next, 16th question. Is a timetable available for safety audits, preventive drills, and exercises? Suppose this is not there, you are bound to be affected by disaster. Is there an effective project management process? Is there a well-documented multi-agency coordination process? But if you want to do yourself, you will not be able to do it yourself. Okay. Have the key hazards been identified and prevention methods used to mitigate these hazards? So if this question is no, then you are unprepared. Okay. So if you do not address all these 20 parameters before the organizing of any event, whether it is sports, whether it's Kumbh Mela or any Mela, agriculture Mela, horticulture Mela, so many things we do. Pulkeshi festival, Hampi festival, we organize every year, almost every year. So we need to address all these 20 questions, 20 parameters, so that there is no disaster during the actual event. So wherever they have taken into account all of them, the risk is minimized to a great extent, almost zero. Okay. So that you must do even in our own departments. For example, the same thing is done here. So we have the safety security order. So those 3 to 5 and 20th question. If these 3 to 5 and 20th questions are addressed, safety security orders are maintained. So is poor or below the average, average, above average, excellent, best in class. So that you have to assess and rate it. If your rate is excellent, that means there is a zero risk. If your rating is poor, likely that there is going to be a disaster, like stampede, fire accidents, bomb threats, even any other disaster. Are you clear, sir?
Yes, sir.
Suppose there is a question, disaster preparedness. What is the question number? Parameter 69, 20. What is that 16 and 20 here? It is here. 16 is here. And 20th is here. If you don't address these two questions, you will be rated as poor. Okay. Poor means disaster going to happen. There's going to be a disaster. So you need to be very, very careful. There are tools and templates you must make use while preparing the events. Before the event, you must try to prepare a plan of action. See that there is no disaster risk. So you should be excellent actually here. Venue should be excellent by addressing all these parameters. 1 to 20 questions. Okay. That I already told you. For example, you see here between 3 countries, which is the best in disaster risk reduction? Can anybody give some light on this? Here Haiti means is a Caribbean country, little poor country. 2.5 lakh deaths have happened with a 7 magnitude of earthquake. Bhuj in India with 7.7, but how many deaths? 28,000 only. In Japan, same magnitude of earthquake, but only 1 death. Actually, 0 deaths. You see here, 0 deaths. Which country performed better here?
Japan.
Japan.
Next in ranking is?
India.
Ranking India.
And last is Haiti.
Haiti.
Who have managed a better risk management better here?
Japan.
Japan only.
So that's what I'm saying. If they have prepared well, they have already taken disaster risk reduction measures in their country. Even if there is an earthquake of any magnitude, there is no death and there is no loss of life and there is no loss to the property also. But India is better actually compared to Haiti. We have only 20,000 deaths with more magnitude, actually 7.7. Here you can see 2.5 lakh people. Out of 30 lakh people, almost 5-6 lakh people have died there with severe injuries in Haiti. So 1/5 of the people, 1/5 of the people vanished there out of 30 lakh population. Okay. I'm unable to hear you. If you speak properly, you can do that. Okay, there are between 3. This is the status of risk reduction measures initiated by that country. Okay, some countries are poor, some countries are better, some are excellent. So please see these things. This indicates that India is better than Haiti. Japan is better than India. Okay. There was a tsunami in 2004. who were at most risk anta if I ask question, who will be the most risk? Who will be at most risk in tsunami and earthquake in Nagapattinam, Tamil Nadu, or anywhere else? You see about 2000.
Fishermen community who are settled in the coastal areas.
So 2,406 women died in that compared to 1,883. Why it may be? Why it is happened? Why it has happened like this here? Anybody? You can see children, women only. In tsunami, the deaths happen. Maximum deaths have happened to children and women. Who are at risk? In
They
earthquake.
belongs to vulnerable section, that's only.
So it is basically women, children, disabled persons, and also aged persons, and those who are not well. So they are the most vulnerable during any disaster, whether it's flood, earthquake, cyclone, tsunami, you name any disaster, they are even fire also. Okay. So these are the most. Here, he is at risk. He is a blind man. He doesn't know what is there in front of him. Dog has passed, but he will not be able to pass. We may fall inside this ditch. I am showing you who are at risk, maximum risk. Here, who are the maximum risk in this World Trade Tower? You see, in the World Trade Tower Center, also in the 80th floor, these persons with disabilities were staying. They were unable to escape from the building because of their disabilities. When the next flight came and hit it, all of them died in that 80th floor, while many of the good normal people escaped through escape routes. So now I am asking you again, who are at maximum risk in any disaster, whether it is man-made or natural? Again, the persons who are most vulnerable people, as you just now told. So what to do for them is important, because you need to create extra facilities, mock drills, sufficient adequate communication to all these people, facilities to be created for them, like ramps, wheelchairs, motorized wheelchairs, and all those facilities should be ensured in such buildings, so that they will escape immediately during any calamities. We have prepared Gram Panchayati plan also. It's in Kannada actually, Gram Panchayat Disaster Management Plan. So here you can see the people, community involvement in preparing the disaster plan to reduce the disaster risk. I'm asking you one question: who knows the disaster risk better in local areas, in Gram Panchayats or villages? It is the community, they know very well, because they know what is happening in their villages and Gram Panchayat. It is better to involve them in the disaster risk planning and the disaster risk reduction measures. They will give all the solutions, and government is only there to help and facilitate in the reduction of disaster risks. So that is what is being done in some of these areas in Gram Panchayats. So I'm just telling you, I just told you, they will prepare seasonality chart, they will prepare everything, like, they will prepare the risk reduction measures by sitting together in the different villages. The self-help groups, women self-help groups, they'll come and sit together and prepare the plans, along with women representatives, elected representatives. Even the training on how to use boat riding, everything is being trained, so that they will be used during any disasters like floods and all. So another tool is like impact versus frequency. You must classify all your disasters in 4 quadrants, which are causing high impact, high frequency, which are causing high impact, low frequency, low impact, high frequency, and low impact, low. Why it is done here? Because of the budget that is available is less. You should give priority to the different hazards. The hazards which are causing more impact and occurring frequently should be given first priority, so that they are also every year happening, so that they are arrested. Risk is arrested immediately. So for such type of hazards, you can prepare mitigation projects and submit it to the government for funding. Okay, I am requesting all of you to prepare some of the project proposals and submit it to the government for funding, so that you can find some long-lasting solution to such problems. So there is a kind of plan there, disaster management plan, government, the Grama Panchayat disaster management plan template is there. I will not go into this. It may not be possible for you to understand it so quickly. So I'll ask you some questions now. Okay. So please ask any questions